Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and get started then. Thank you all for joining today. I'll be your workshop navigator today. Just a reminder, any questions you have, you can put into the chat and we'll get to them at the end. Um, I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker. Our speaker today is Dr. Millen from UCF Legal Studies, and she'll be speaking to you about internships. Professor Millen, you can go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you very much for your interest in joining us for today for an information session with regard to internships. I have been at the University of Central Florida since 2001, but recently became the internship coordinator for the Department of Legal Studies as of summer of 25. So I first want to start off with why internships matter. And by you joining us today, you probably already have a sense of wanting to apply or find out more about internships. The first thing is application of classroom theory to real life professions. And this provides you the opportunity to take what you learn in the classroom and see how it is implemented in a real world situation. Next is exposure, especially for us in legal studies, to actual client situations and how clients are handled within the attorney's office. And what comes as a surprise sometimes for our students is that it is not necessarily that everyone who comes to your legal office actually has a viable case or has a cause of action for you to help them with. And so not only do you get exposure to how to handle clients who are in need of legal services, but the flip side is how to handle clients who think that they have a legal matter, but in reality, it is something that is not recognizable under the law. So we were talking about this the other day with a couple of students because it was surprising to them that there are some situations where the client feels aggrieved and that they demand justice, but unfortunately, there is no remedy available to them under our current laws. So you have to not only you have to be able to handle those types of clients in those situations. Another is expanding the knowledge for the student to improve the skill set and also to note your deficiencies as to, oh, I need to become a better researcher. I need to be able to write more effectively. And then it also helps you to determine your area of interest. And you may be assigned to work with a criminal law firm and then decide, you know what, criminal law is not for me. Same thing with other areas of the law. So as to internships, since I have become coordinator, there have been a lot of misunderstandings by students as to what an internship entails and what is meant by the term. Internship, the term is for experiential learning associated with an area of interest that you have identified. Then typically it is real time. So I want to share some of the misconceptions that students have inquired about, and so to shed some illumination on the situation. So I had an inquiry by a student who wanted to know if they could get internship credit from the Department of Legal Studies for an internship that she did when she was a freshman and in a different major. What would you think the answer to that would be? Would it be yes? Or we could probably do a show of hands, or would it be no? And the reason it would be a no is because there would be no way for me to account for the type of internship or whatever learning objectives that she had in another major during her freshman year. So internship is not a vehicle for easy credit. Internship is a formal course depending on the department that is offering the internship. So for our Department of Legal Studies, you typically are a major in legal studies, and there are required foundational courses. We cannot, as part of a formal course, and with regard to our partnerships in the legal community, we will not place a student with a law firm or with the court system who has not had legal research, legal writing, and professionalism. And there are requirements, there are required prerequisite courses before you are able to sign up and participate in our internship program. So one question that I get often is, hey, I think I want to take an internship. I want to do an internship in the summer. Well, we have prerequisites, and the prerequisites are PLA 4705. You have to take professionalism and obtain a grade of C or better in a prior semester before you would qualify to register for PLA 4941. Most of our students are within 1 or 2 semesters of completion of their undergraduate degree. And so that comes as a surprise. Some students want to take both PLA 4705, the professionalism course. They want to take it at the same time as the internship course. And the reason it is a prerequisite is because in 4705, you create your portfolio and you also look for placement for your internship in the following semester. Now, our department has relationships with the state attorney, public defender, local legal aid society, also with the Office of Student Conduct and Academic Integrity located on the main campus, and several local law firms. But it is the responsibility of the student to find and procure their placement for the internship course. Why is that? Well, what we have found is that their students, it depends on their geographic location, and it also depends on their other obligations. So they may have work obligations, or they may be located in a different county than the Metro Orlando area. We currently have students that are working in Tampa for their internship location, also in Brevard County, and I did have one that was working out of state. There are also other opportunities. The PLA 4941 is a 3 credit course. And another misconception is students think that they can essentially CLEP out of internship. Oh, well, I worked for a law firm a year ago, and now can I get credit for that? No, this is a formal course that has to be taken. It's offered every semester, and you need to be working and doing the experiential learning during the semester that you are registered for. So, it's wonderful and great that you did an internship for a month last fall, but in order to participate in summer 26 semester, you would need to have a host. You would need to have a location for summer of 26, because within the course, you have to submit biweekly logbooks. There's reflection journals. There's different assignments associated with the course. It's not that you just register and that's the end of it. I note your progress throughout the course of the semester. If there is an issue associated with your placement or your host, then I then intervene. We had a situation a number of years ago now where we got a call from the senior partner at the law firm that the intern had used the copy machine to copy buy six, get six free Dunkin' Donut coupons. And they were concerned about the use of their copier for making these additional coupons for Dunkin' Donuts, and they were doing it as part of their fundraiser for their club. So that's a situation where, as the internship coordinator, I need to step in and resolve that problem that cropped up. So you are closely monitored while you are in the course for the semester that it is offered. And since it is a formal course, you do have to register for the course and also pay for the credits. Um, and and so I've also there are other opportunities for our students. One of them is the Legislative Scholars Program, and that you will start seeing information about the Legislative Scholars Program typically in August. And those students that are selected for that program are selected in the fall of every year, and then they go to Tallahassee for the spring semester, as long as the legislature is in session. So our group of students, we have three from legal studies that are currently in Tallahassee that have been assigned to a legislative delegate, and they are working there until the end of the session sometime in March. The best thing about that is that you get an opportunity to see government firsthand. And two, it comes with a $3,000 stipend plus living arrangements in Tallahassee and one trip back to Orlando that's paid for. So that is a really exciting internship opportunity that offers 6 credits because it is full-time every day working with your assigned legislator for that time period. Another opportunity for our students is with the Washington Center through it's located in Washington, D.C. They also provide a scholarship stipend, and that you work every day as an intern. It is a full-time program. So those are some other types of internship opportunities available to our students outside of the 3-credit PLA 4941 course. There is also, and some students are surprised, there is also a minimum hourly requirement for completion of the internship. It's not in name only. You actually have to go to your host and the placement every week and work on assignments and activities that are associated with your placement. So there currently it is 180-hour minimum requirement, and that typically translates into 13 to 16 hours weekly. And sometimes I get the question by students, but what do I do when I have spring break and I'm going on a cruise? Well, you need to speak with your employer and you need to make up those hours somehow. Because your employer isn't the one that's closing shop and going on the cruise just because you have spring break. So there are a number of considerations that you as the student need to think about when you are planning to engage in an internship as part of your course of studies here at the university. So those are some of the things that I find that the students are surprised by, and that they have questions about. Um, and so, I'll open it up for questions because I think that would be better use of our time.
Thank you so much. So we have one question in the chat. Somebody was
Uh-huh.
asking if for the Legislative Scholars Program, if they would have to be a legal studies major or if it would be okay if they're a political science minor on the pre-law track.
Okay, great question because there is a preference in the legislative scholars cohort for majors that are legal studies, political science, and public administration. But they have also taken majors from other majors, but typically those three majors have been the bulk of the students that have been selected for the Legislative Scholars Program. So if in also the legislative scholars, our contact person is Professor Jason Fiesta, Fiesta. And there are a number of workshops available on campus. If you're also in the Burnett Honors College, there are workshops that are held in the fall to help you put together your portfolio. It is a formal application, and it also requires an interview with the committee that makes the final selection. And typically for that interview, because you will be working with delegates from the Metro Orlando area, is that they ask you to identify a current issue that and ask you as to how you would what type of legislation would you suggest with regard and to that issue. So, for example, if you have driven regularly on our roadways, you may have encountered, it's called camping in the left lane, the far left lane. And you may have been irritated by drivers who essentially camp, as in they go 70 in the far left lane because they're on their phone, they're texting, they're whatever they're doing. Well, there has just now been passed legislation that you can be ticketed for camping out in the left lane. You are supposed to use the left lane to pass and then to get over into the middle or the far right lane. So, a couple of years back, that this a student could have said, there should be legislation with regard to this issue on our roadway because when you have people camping out in the far left lane, it does clog the flow of traffic. So, and then we just recently had legislation, some of you may have been notified of it or now note that there is increased penalties for if you go over the speed limit. And if you go, I think it's 40 miles over the speed limit, 25 or 40 miles. But if you are clocked at going over 100 miles an hour, you will be arrested. So, there are changes from year to year in our legislation, in our statutes. But it's a worthwhile program. You do have to have some formal dress. Several of my students were concerned that they were going to Tallahassee and they didn't have a coat. So you need to have some warm clothes if you're going to go to Tallahassee, especially now that we've had our chilly weather here.
Thank you. And then
Hmm.
we also had another question. If a student is taking capstone this semester and they want to do an internship during summer of 2026, will that count towards the supporting course credit requirement?
Typically, it's an either or, that you either take internship or you take capstone if you are a legal studies major to fulfill the requirement. But I would have to defer to Dr. Pons, our program coordinator, that it would count as supporting. My would hazard to guess that it would because we do encourage internships, but Dr. Pons, as the program coordinator, has the final say with regard to the fulfillment of academic requirements.
Thank you. And then we had another question as well. For somebody that is an integrated business major, what would be the best option for internships if they're interested in the pre-law track?
Okay, what is their emphasis?
Um, they just put in the chat that they're integrated business major on the pre-law track, I think. You can go ahead and unmute Timia if you'd like.
Yeah,
Hello.
hello.
Um, what did
So,
you
what legal courses do you take? I'm
I
not familiar with your track.
I actually haven't taken any legal studies courses. My major is integrated business, but the direction I'm going career-wise is law.
Okay, if you want to take internships with your current major, what I would do is go through career services on the main campus
Okay.
because they may have placements. But if you are looking to want to go into law, then at a minimum, I would look to take. We have two courses. I would look to take PLA 3014, which is Introduction to Legal Systems. Law, it's called Law and the Legal, PLA 3014. And I would also look to take, we have a new course that is coming online in the fall, PLA 3002, that's Careers in the Law. Um, but in order to pursue an interest in the law, in order to be competitive and to essentially do well if you're planning to go to law school, you really need to have a few of the legal studies courses as supporting coursework for your major. And I don't do academic advising, so I don't know how many credit hours you would have available to, do those as electives and supporting coursework for to support your interest. I have had students, I had one student who was enrolled in my PLA 3014 Law and the Legal, and he told me, he says, I'm a psych major, and this course just fit my time slot that I needed this course, but I'm not really interested in the law. And what he found after he took that course was that he was very interested in the law. And then he went on to apply for law school. So that course, and for everybody listening, that course, Law in the Legal System, will give you a good indication of your level as to whether or not law is of interest to you. Because they go over all of the different areas of the law, family law, criminal law, civil, estates and trusts. They give you an overview of the legal system. And if you are excited and really engaged in that course, then law school's a good path for you. But I've had students that said, "Oh, I can't wait to get out of this class. I'm not interested in this." then we've saved them, 3 years of going to law school because the course material just is not of interest to them. So, if you have an opportunity to do an elective and you think you want to go to law school, I would at a minimum take law in the legal system.
Thank you. And then we
Hmm.
also had another question.
Okay,
So
great.
yeah, the person that was asking about the Legislative Scholars Internship was also asking, what kind of experiences do you think she should prioritize before applying to rigorous internships, such as Legislative Scholars? And would she need to complete the same legal studies prerequisites for the internship if she's not a legal studies major?
Okay, there is preference for legal studies majors for PLA 4941. Legislative Scholars is open to all majors, but with the emphasis on those who are in public administration, political science, and legal studies. Um, and what was the second part of our question?
She was asking if she would have to complete the same legal studies prerequisites for the internship if she's not in legal studies as a major.
Yes, well, that course, the preference is given to the majors. I do have one student who is a minor in legal studies, where they have completed the 4705. The reason that we have you complete the course is one is branding. We are not in a position to offer PLA 4941 to someone who does not know how to do Westlaw, does not know how to conduct legal research, does not know how to write a memorandum of law, is unfamiliar with the court system, because you would be of little value to your host. These are fast-paced, very busy law firms, state attorney's office, public defender's office, and you need to have some working knowledge just of terminology to be able to be of value to your host. Otherwise, why should they offer you a desk at their location? You're there to work and to learn, but you need to have some basic knowledge in order to gain the most from that experience.
Right. And then we had another question. If a person is a psychology major with the political science minor, interested in being like an immigration attorney for their career path, would you believe it's best for them to minor in maybe legal studies instead, or would political science probably be a better route?
Well, I think you should, at a minimum, take, we do offer an immigration course. At a minimum, you need to take a few of our entry level PLA courses in order to have a working knowledge and to help you succeed in your future career goals. At a minimum, I would suggest that you not only take the introductory course to law and the legal system, but at a minimum, you should take legal research as a supporting elective, 3108, PLA 3108, because legal research is different than other types of research. So, legal research, our system is based on what's known as precedent, case precedent. You may have heard the term stare decisis. And so you need to have a working understanding of how our law works in order and how you conduct legal research at a very minimum. in order to be able to be successful as an attorney.
Thank you. And then we had another question as well. Are the
Mhm.
prerequisites for internships the same as the core classes for a legal studies major? So somebody who's in the legal studies major, is the prerequisites for internships the same as the core classes for the major?
4705 is the prerequisite. Yes, the core courses lead up to, so legal research, legal writing, professionalism, those all culminate in either taking the internship course or taking capstone as your finishing course for your second to last semester or your last semester. So if you are in a major, you are right on track to qualify as long as you pass professionalism with a C or better, then you are right on track in order to go into the internship course.
Thank you. And I
Mhm.
think that was all the questions we had. Students, if you have any other questions, be sure to drop it into the chat, or you can unmute if you'd like.
Yeah, depending on so if you are not a legal studies major, my advice to you would be to make an appointment with your academic advisor. Find out how many elective courses you have still available to you, and then look to take one or two of our PLA courses, our legal studies courses. And like the one student said, I'm interested in immigration law. Well, then, at a minimum, take immigration law. But you may find that is an upper level course. So it may behoove you, it may benefit you to, if you have the opportunity with the electives, to go ahead and take a couple of the introduction courses so that you can get the most out of the immigration law course.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And then I guess broadly, do you have any, oh, sorry. Whoa, there's a lot of questions coming in. Sorry.
Okay.
Would writing a memorandum of law be a skill included in legal research, or is there a dedicated course?
Um, in legal research, you learn about how to put together the case law, that the statutes and the case law that would be supportive for the analysis that is required in a memorandum of law. Typically in legal research, we do a portfolio that then can be turned into a memorandum of law. But the memorandum of law is highlighted in legal writing because it is a specialized form of writing. And so that is addressed in particular in a legal writing course.
Thank you.
And I saw another question.
I think that was somebody asking for your full name and job title.
Oh, okay. It is Abby, Abby, Milan, Milon, and I am a senior lecturer and internship coordinator in the Department of Legal Studies.
Hi, I just had another question.
Yes.
I was typing a lot in the chat. I figured I would just come on. But
Yeah.
so right now I'm a junior and I've already taken or I'm currently taking two political science classes. So I don't have any free electives, but as I'm taking these classes, I feel like for immigration law specifically, that legal studies would benefit me more. Um, so do you know the PLA classes, they don't count towards political science and other things like that, right?
Well, I would get with your academic advisor because there are opportunities to um, switch courses, like they will they'll have a list of compatible courses, or they'll have courses that your major will be willing to switch out from another department. But I'm not an academic advisor. So I caution students to get with your academic advisor, and they are familiar, with the cross-pollination across the courses, because you can substitute, or there is a list of courses that can be substituted for other course requirements. So that is the best way to map out, going forward, um, what is available to you. I then also have some students that have taken the PLA course just because they know that's the area they want to go into, and whether it counts toward their major or not, they feel they need that background.
Okay, thank you. That was
So
informative.
I would definitely work closely with your academic advisor and to see what options, because there's different pathways that you can create depending on what you identify as your interest, and they will be able to help you map that out.
Thank you. And then we also had another question about internships. For
Mhm.
someone doing an internship in the summer, would that be for the whole summer semester or would that be for 1 month?
No, it is summer C semester. So it is from May until the 1st of August. It is the full 12-week session.
Thank you. Students, if there's any other questions, you can go ahead and put into the chat or unmute now if you'd like.
One other thing I would suggest to the students is that if you are of another major, then check with your department, check within your college as to opportunities, and especially with career resources. They also, through career resources, they offer internship credit. And they offer, I think, one hour, one credit up to 3 credits through the career resources office. So they may have leads, they may have opportunities and avenues for you to pursue that are more aligned with your major and that is flexible. I think they can be more flexible through career resources and readiness through that office to give you one credit, 2 credit, that kind of thing. But our course is a formal restricted course. So if you're looking for some kind of flexible opportunity, I would direct you to reach out to career resources.
Thank you. And students, you can also reach out to AAP as well. There we have a law school preparation web course where we put some internship opportunities and some different other volunteer opportunities that may come up. And you can also check using our link tree, which I'll put into the chat, in our AAP resource database under pre-law, where we put some conferences or different things, other opportunities coming up so you can connect more with law experiences.